What got you involved in doing it from the start?
I used to sort of ride a BMX down stormwater canals, and I was exploring the tunnels upstream of those. And one day I was in a canal and I found this sticker that said, interested in tunnels and drains, write to this PO box in Melbourne. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. But so I wrote to them, and they sent me back this list of drains in Sydney that they'd found. Melbourne drain explorers had explored all the stuff in Melbourne, and they come up with looking for drains in Sydney.
So they have maps or
they got location lists, right? They sort of have location lists and street directory references in them, and so you could just sort of pop down there and they give you a sheet and you go get a street directory and just hit Melbourne, go underground.
Wow.
But I sort of moved from drains to things like bridges and rail tunnels and stuff only later, sort of mid-90s. There's still plenty of drains to do, but just a bit of variety is good,
And do you experience different kind of extremes of weather conditions and stuff? You could be BMXing in one tunnel and then maybe in a lilo in the next one?
I generally don't BMX in them anymore. It's kind of hard to get them down manhole shafts.
Because it'd be amazing riding BMX down these smooth concrete bits.
There's probably some more terrifying things you could ride down. Some of the really evil slides and stuff that are around in Sydney. Skateboard down or bump slide down. I fell down Sydney slide a number of years ago, and it was perfectly smooth, and it was a bit scary, but it was good fun when I got to the bottom.
And was it before you invested in the miner's torch?
Yeah, I was sort of using an old Dolphin back then.
Okay.
And I was sort of sliding down on the arse and just going scraping the torch along on the concrete.
Wow. And what are some other bits of equipment that you would consider essential for draining? Or the whole exploration type thing. I noticed no one carries ropes. Do you ever go anywhere where you have to
Very occasionally there are drains that, they've got really steep slides or waterfalls or whatever, and I'll often put a rope in there, attach it to a step iron or something. There are some drains you might actually abseil down and, you could go down rope and harness, but the great thing about drain exploring is just the minimum sort of equipment that you need to do it.
Right.
The most important thing to take with you is your brain. You don't go down when it's threatening to piss down rain on you, obviously. Don't expose yourself to needless risk.
Have you come across any other people whilst you've been exploring?
You occasionally seem to come across, people in what you might term low-cost housing, i.e. abandoned buildings and stuff.
Wow.
And they're often sort of not particularly friendly that you sort of just walk into their home. Sometimes you'll just find people, mainly kids exploring drains, and they'll be very surprised that, 5 or 6 people with lights on.
An organised group,
Yeah. And sometimes you bump into other people in drains who are a sort of little organised group, and there's always these the cops sort of moment. You see these torches coming towards you.
Are they homies?
Yeah, well, they've never really been a serious problem.
That's cool. They don't hang out in the drains, obviously more the mall kind of area.
It's interesting to note that Homeboy Graffiti only goes into a tunnel as far as the light goes. There's no graph much further beyond that, so they either haven't figured out how to deal with torches or they're afraid of the dark.
So there's kind of specific Cave Clan graffiti that you would be able to find if you take to the tunnels underneath Australia?
You'll generally find, in the remote upper reaches and near interesting features, you'll find, Cave Clan graffiti, little Cave Clan symbol and, addresses of nearby post offices that might have, places that you can send mail to. There's, post boxes in cities. And, that's sort of been a bit updated more recently, of course, now that the web pages are up and you can just email members specifically.
Right. God, what a high-tech world getting inside a drain is. Let's go to some music here on the joint aspect. I think the oxygen's disappearing again. We've used it all talking. It's dangerous stuff. It's dangerous stuff.
Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Predator. Here on The Joint, a very special episode transmitting live from below your toilet. In fact, we could be anywhere in the country. Do you have any idea where we are at the moment?
I don't actually, but I think we're somewhere in the city.
Somewhere in the city. Now, I've brought along an inflatable raft. Is there any chance we might be using that tonight? Have you come under here on a boat before?
I have actually, yeah, but at the moment it's all right and it's not much water.
So would it... Oh my God, can you focus on that? Do you see that? That is... Don't touch it! Right now, live on The Joint. FC Europa and The Score. Take them on. Getting out of here. Well, here on The Joint, we're still atop inside the bridge, which I'm sure is going to become a mecca, a bit of a shrine for all the Joint viewers to travel to and climb the rickety ladder inside, which Bruce, a member of the Cave Clan, has led us on. How you going tonight, Bruce?
Pretty well.
Yeah? How many times have you been up in this bridge?
This one I've done a few times. I think this is my 6th trip in.
Wow.
And the ladder seems to get dodgier and dodgier as more and more people climb it. It is rotting a little.
What's the biggest kind of group that you've gone exploring with?
I think personally the biggest group would have been about 22 people going through the fortress, which I believe did some filming in before.
And are there some areas that you've visited more than anywhere else? Is there one kind of place you go back to again and again?
There's always the stuff that everybody's got somewhere that's local to their home, and usually that's one person's particular local spot will be their most visited spot.
Right.
But I'd say that Old Glebe Island Solo is probably the most visited. Some people have been there a couple of hundred times.
Even though that sounds like the most dangerous one with the 300-foot or 300-metre drop where The Matrix was filmed. Keanu, he fell a few times. He's actually a clone now, the Keanu that you see. So the thrill of the dangerous one is what gets people back to it.
I think it's the view.
The view?
Yeah, it used to have the most fantastic view.
Oh, you kidding?
Last year's New Year's Eve was one hell of a party up there. Looking directly at the city. People used to go up there, sit on the roof, just party on all night.
Awesome. And how long have you been exploring for?
Myself, about 4 or 5 years. It's hard to tell.
But has it always kind of been in the blood?
Yeah, always.
To go where you shouldn't go?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Bruce, I think that's something everyone shares here. Rage Against the Machine, they're a band that share that love, that need for going where they shouldn't go, and they do that constantly with their musical material, very political. We managed to catch up with them with the V camera, so here's a bit of a chat with Rage Against the Bridges and Drains Machine here on The Joint. Well done, Bruce. Here we go. Who's that down there? Whereabouts are we now? I'm getting confused trying to follow all the tunnels and
We're in, what's it called? Inside a bridge.
And the roadway's kind of just above us?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're just under the roadway. It's sort of one of those, we've just come up one of those big arches and we've popped up some stairs and shit and we're in here. We can't actually hear too much traffic up there, so
It's very quiet.
yeah. A lot of places you find it quiet, and some of them you have like grilling and then you get that's really like spooky.
Or trains perhaps in tunnels underneath the city.
Yeah, we've done a few train tunnels and dodging trains is cool. A couple of good ones are like blowouts where you actually stand in places where trains rush past and you got to hold on, otherwise you get blown off your feet.
That's like Slake's Limbo. The guy that lives in the railway tunnels in New York.
Yeah.
And are there other bridges that you climb that you can get up inside?
Yeah, there's quite a few. We have a whole heap of bridge rooms. Most bridge people don't realise most bridges are actually hollow and shit, so you can get inside them. We actually spent last week camping inside a bridge.
It's very hot.
It is. There's no ventilation in here at all. Like, if you like lit a cigarette in here, the smoke would just sit.
Wow.
So yeah, you got to be careful.
What's now, apart from the substance infectious substance T-shirt and a torch, what are some other obvious, or some maybe not so obvious essential equipment that you need?
Well, you need a drain key, which is something to be able to pop manhole covers with. Various tools for helping you into places. Good solid pair of boots. Clothes you don't really give a shit about.
Right.
And a sense of adventure.
Excellent. And maybe a gas mask? It seems to be a whole bunch of extreme situations, the hot, arid, deserty kind of bridge vibe, and then maybe
you can
some
wear
darker places.
I think someone just died. You can wear a gas mask, but it's usually just for look. More than necessity, because we don't bother about breathing.
That's cool and stuff. So that, because we're going to do some music here on The Joint. We'll be back with the Cave Clan and much more. This is Quantum. I changed my mind. We better go back down.